Srila Prabhupada, reading from Canto 11, Chapter 18, Text 3. Having adopted the Vanaprastha order of life, one should arrange one's sustenance by eating uncontaminated bulbs, roots and fruits that grow in the forest. One may dress oneself with tree bark, grass, leaves or animal skins. Prabhupada by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. A renowned sage in the forest does not kill animals, but rather acquires skins from animals who have suffered natural death. According to the passage from Manu Samhita quoted by Sri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, the word medhyai or pure indicates that while residing in the forest, a sage may not accept honey-based liquors, animal flesh, fungus, mushrooms, no, horseradish. What's horseradish? What's that? Carrot? No, or any hallucinogenic or intoxicating herbs, even those taken as so-called medicine. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Te Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Visheshunyavadi Paishadeshtarine. Okay, so this is a verse, I think it's a description of Varnashram Dharma. That's interesting. As spoken by Krishna to Uddhava. And Krishna is speaking about Vanaprastha ashram. Basically, Varnashram Dharma, we all know it's a Varnashram Dharma, it's a system to live life peacefully. That's all. I mean to say, people might have debates about this Varnashram Dharma, whether to institute it or not institute it. There are some debates going on. But even if you remove this word Varnashram, even if you don't like this word Varnashram, because Varnashram carries a big connotation, wrong connotation, that it's a caste system. It's a caste system, and that is why if you see Indian history, people revolted against Varnashram Dharma. At the time of Gandhi, we have this Raja Ram Mohan Roy and big political leaders, Brahmo Samaj. They revolted against Varnashram Dharma because people, in the name of casteism, they were exploiting others. So, as we know, Varnashram Dharma means, ashrama means 4 stages of life, that is Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, which Krishna is talking about, and sannyas. Every person has to go or should go in these 4 stages of life. Almost every person. And then there is Varna. There are divisions of people according to qualities. So there are some people like Brahmanas, intelligent people, Kshatriyas, strong people, managers. Then there are, who else? Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, which are businessmen, and then there are Shudras, who are workers or laborers. It's a very sane system to run a society. So if you don't like this word Varnashram and if you don't like this word caste system, let us put it as Varnashram is a scientific system to manage a society. That's all. And we need that, isn't it? We have many seminars, how to manage a society, whether it's International Krishna Conscious Society or it is at large London or UK or America. You need a political system. Varnashrama is giving a political, socio-political system. That's how it goes. Socio-political system to manage humans. And you need this. By the way, there is a famous sociologist, Friedrich Hayek, if anybody knows. He actually he got a Nobel Prize for understanding how human society works. And he came to conclusion that yes, you need a socio-political system to not to really control, but to manage and to keep people together. But at the same time, Although any political system, socio-political system is there, but it will not work without one thing. He concluded, and what is that? Without morals, without morality, and also without love. It doesn't work. He came to this conclusion, and we have the same thing in Bhagavatam. There is a Varnashrama Dharma, a structure, a framework for society to manage it, but at the same time there is Bhakti. Bhakti means love and virtues, isn't it? That's all Bhakti to do with. If you combine both, then you have Ram Rajya. As in India we say, the kingdom of Ram, where even death is systematic. Srila Prabhupada says, even death is systematic. Death. A son will not die before father. That's how his kingdom was. That's how Ram was. So this particular verse is talking about a particular stage of life called as Vanaprastha. Now, after it is advised, Prabhupada says, after 50 years or 55 years, you should leave your home. In Mahabharata it comes, it is said, if anybody lives in his home after 50, 55 years or 60 years, whatever retirement age is according to the law, if you live after that, it is said you are as good as dog. Dog. That's a good word, but anyway, in India it's a funny thing. Okay, fine. You are as good as a slave. Let's say like that. That's a bad word. Because then you are living at the expense of your children, and that's not a good idea. You should live surrendered and dependent on God. And that's this stage all about Vanaprastha. So first you spend some 25 years or 15 years, 20 years in Brahmacharya ashram. You get trained. And then you enter household life. And then you leave the household life to enter Vanaprastha. You go to a forest, or according to Prabhupada, here one means Vrindavan. Prabhupada says, you go there and you live there either with your wife or without your wife. If you don't have children, then you can take a wife with you. But the wife should not serve as wife. She should now help the husband as a devotee. That relationship is not there. If you have children, then the wife should stay with the children and the husband should go and stay there. And now, having fulfilled his duties, his aim should be focused to understand God and perfect his life. And then afterwards, after some time, then he takes sannyas. Sannyas means he's traveling around and he is preaching. So this stage, Vanaprastha, it is said in this verse, what is a duty of a person who leaves his house and goes away. It's not necessary for everybody to go in household life. You can directly, from Brahmacharya ashram, you can directly go to Vanaprastha or sannyas. That's all. But the whole idea is, there are two paths in our scriptures, pravritti and nivritti. The idea is to become detached from this material world. That's how the system is designed. In fact, it is said, anytime you are confused what to do in life, and most of the time we are confused, isn't it? There are so many decisions we have to take at every moment. Even in Krishna Consciousness, we are confused what to do, what not to do, how to go around things which are very practical. Even in Krishna Consciousness, what decision should we take? Whether should we make temple or no? Whether should we make this prasadam or that prasadam? For example, isn't it? There's so many confusions. How to solve them? There is one guidelines. If anytime you're confused, and that's said by Vallabhacharya and even Prabhupada, there's one guidelines. If you're confused, any path which leads you towards detachment, choose that. Don't choose something which will lead you to attachment. Don't do that. Otherwise, you'll be trapped. Like, for example, I'll give you a simple, common example. Now, if some devotee comes to you, suppose you go to Vrindavan, and if some devotee comes and he says, Prabhu, Mahaprasad, and he gives you, okay, and there is a big plate of cake, and especially for you, Radharani sent for you. Okay, good. And so what to do? Should we eat the whole cake or not eat? Now that kind of decisions I'm talking about. I'm not talking about big decisions. Whether to run this Soho temple and this. We're talking about small things. And it is said, if you want to understand where you are in devotion, what's the level of your devotion, don't see big things, see your small things. You'll be confused. You can't make out. See day-to-day routine things, and then we will understand where we are. Are we pushed and pulled by reflexes, or we are sticking to the law? As Bible says, stick to the law. Don't turn left, don't turn right. Go straight. Because the gate is narrow for the spiritual kingdom. But the gate to hell is wide and comfortable. That's what it is said. So, what to do? Now tell me what to do. If you get a plate of cake, big cake, what you should do? You should eat it because it's Mahaprasad. But the problem is, if you eat the whole plate of cake, first of all, your health, you will have a lot of problems. Second of all, you might become absorbed in the taste that you'll forget it's sent by Radharani. It's a big possibility, isn't it? Because we are all conditioned. So what to do? So what's the guidelines? Guidelines is choose a decision which will lead you to detachment and not attachment. So what a sane person will do, okay, this is a cake, but I have to honor it, we have to accept it. We can't deny it. We cannot deny Mahaprasadam. We have to accept it. Just like Prabhupada, many times, many people used to give Prabhupada many gifts. We read in Leela Amrit, isn't it? And Prabhupada used to keep all those cakes and fruits and on the shelf. And devotees said, when the next day we used to come, we used to see, it's kept there. Prabhupada was not taking that. Because Prabhupada knew Prabhupada is perfect. He knew how to navigate in the world of Maya. He knows that. We don't have a GPS. We have a GPS, but we don't use. Our GPS is Bhagavatam, but we generally don't use it. We rely on our mind, and that's a problem. So how to take a decision? Okay, what leads to detachment? Now, I may become attached to the taste, so I should not take the cake. So what should we do? We should throw it. That's offense. If we keep it, it gets spoiled. And I can't eat because if I keep on eating cakes, I'll go to cake lok and not go lok. It's a problem. Many devotees have fallen due to cakes. I'm literally telling you, many pujaris and many devotees, brahmacharis. Cake is a problem. In fact, it is said in ISKCON, in our institution, yogis and jnanis, they die of fasting, and devotees die of feasting. It's a big problem there. That's why we sing that prayer, Taro Madhye Jiva Ati. And Prabhupada says in instruction that make gorgeous and exquisite cuisine or whatever dishes for Krishna, but for oneself you should eat very, very simple. Otherwise, tongue is the most problematic muscle in a body. It's a muscle, no? You know that, no? Scientifically it's a muscle, but the problem is free at one end. And that's the whole problem. And this small thing, it has caused wars. A blind man's father is a blind son, isn't it? Draupadi, she said this to Duryodhan. You're blind because your father is blind, and that's why you're blind, and everything is blind. And Duryodhan was convinced, I'll destroy Pandavas. It's just tongue. And that's why nectar instruction begins. Vacho vegam, isn't it? Jiva, Vegam, all this, control this tongue. So what should you do? You can't eat, you can't keep, you can't throw. What you should do? Then now you have to use knowledge of scriptures. What you should do with this cake? Any idea what you should do?
Distribute.
God, yeah. Why? Because I can't eat it.
There's that, but it's also a loving exchange, isn't it? Share.
Scripture says, if you get something, give it. If you receive something, give it. Because in giving, you receive more. That's it. In Manu Samhita. In giving, you receive more. It is said, there's one prayer of Saint Francis. You know Saint Francis? I'm in Western world, so I remember Christian saints. Saint Francis, he's a famous European patron saint. Francisi order, we say that. So actually, his one of his prayers is beautiful. If you read his prayers, so he said, "Oh my Lord, let me not expect love and give love. Let me give love to my enemies, because in giving you receive more, and in receiving you lose everything." That's how it goes. Same thing Manu Samhita says, exactly the same thing. Exactly, there's the same verse. And this is you see the point how we take decisions? It's in simple as eating cake. And this Vanaprastha life is why it is advised you leave your household life and go to seclusion, so that you can get knowledge. So in this life, people spend their life, Vanaprastha life, there are two duties. After you do all your household duties, basically in household life you don't have time. There's no problem in household life. You have wife, you have children, and children are nice. Wife, I don't know, but children are nice. In married life, you don't know, it's like a little tough. So it's okay. But the problem is time. Time is money. Money is not money. Maybe you understand that. You have to save what's valuable. Krishna actually defines illusion. And anybody knows that verse? How Krishna defines? Anybody knows? Just a quiz, that's all. Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna says this verse to Brahmaji at the beginning of creation, 2nd canto, 9th chapter. Krishna defines Maya. And by the way, he doesn't define Maya as magic. We generally think illusion. Prabhupada translates Maya as illusion, isn't it? Prabhupada gives many words for Mayas. But if you speak illusion, illusion gives a sense of magic, isn't it? Illusion gives a sense of matrix. And that's why that movie is there, Matrix. There's some kind of ghostly things going on in the background, and you're in illusion. No, Krishna gives a very practical definition of Maya.
Is it the verse which you tell right?
Yeah, absolutely. That verse, 2nd canto, 9th chapter. And that verse, Krishna gives definition of Maya. Prabhupada gives a very beautiful, practical synonym of Maya. That's misconception. And that's what Krishna says in Bhagavatam. That is a difference. You see, Bhagavatam is Vyasadeva wrote this book in maturity. Because he knew this meaning, illusion, can lead easily to Mayavadism. Easily. And that's why Krishna defined. Krishna says, Rite artham yat pratiyete na pratiyete cha atmani tad vidyatmano mayam yatha bhaso yatatama. He says, what is illusion? Whatever you consider as valuable, if that thing is invaluable in my eyes, you are in illusion. That's how it goes. And what is valuable in Krishna's eyes, if that is valuable in your eyes also, you are out of illusion. That's all. So money is absolutely worthless in eyes of Krishna. Money and this body. Actually, it is said, this piece of flesh is worth nothing. So that's how we see body as. In fact, scripture says, just as a crown of a king is a burden on the head of a beggar, or a spectacle is a burden on a blind man's eyes. What is doing with the spectacle? Similarly, anything what you consider as valuable, and if it is invaluable in the eyes of God, it is simply a burden. And that goes for the body. Similarly, for a self-realized person, this body is a burden. It's simply a burden. This flesh is having no value at all, except it can help us to do devotion. That too, we have to bargain with it as we grow old. Otherwise, it has no value. And that is called as illusion. For us, money is valuable, body is valuable. For Krishna, it's absolutely no value. What is valuable for Krishna in his eyes? Time. We need time. We have to save time. We have to be expert in saving time. And that is what is Varnashrama Dharma, by the way. That is this Vanaprastha ashrama. Oh, you don't have a verse here? Okay. So anyway, I'll speak anyway. That is Vanaprastha ashrama. That is why it is advised, leave your household life, go. And if it is the best, is don't enter household life. Don't do that. That's all. Finish. That's all. Save time. But okay, fine. If you can be in household life and if you can save time, very nice, no problem. The idea is to save time. If you can be in your household life and you're living somewhere, maybe in some farm, okay, no problems. You have time. Time is value. And that is the whole system. You see the point, Prabhupada says in one of his lectures, the whole point of devotional service is to get rid of I and me. Isn't it? Am I right? Or in terms of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he says the whole point of devotion is to disown yourself. If you can figure out what he means. Disown yourself. Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Ami to amar nahi nath. Now I don't belong to myself. That's the perfection of devotion. I don't belong to myself anymore. That means we cannot take any decision without asking a master. We can't do that. We can't think without asking him what to think. That's the perfection of life. That's how we have to be trained in a mind. That is called as Bhakti Yoga. So we should always remember the purpose. Just like for example, we talk about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. The purpose of Karma Yoga is to develop values in life. That's all. The whole purpose of Varnashrama, these rules and regulations, is to develop virtues. Virtues, do you understand virtues? Virtues. Yeah. To develop virtues and good qualities. That's the whole purpose of Karma Yoga. The whole purpose of Jnana Yoga is to understand that I don't belong to myself. And the whole purpose of Bhakti Yoga is to get trained how to give happiness and pleasure to Krishna from all respects. Prabhupada says, satisfy Krishna in all respects, not just in one way. Our whole existence should be pleasing to him, not just our actions, not just our intentions. Our existence should be pleasing to Krishna. That's what he demands from us. That is Vanaprastha life. So Vanaprastha life is not just, okay, Prabhupada says here, actually Bhagavatam Krishna says, in Vanaprastha life you should eat roots and fruits which are grown in forest. That the idea is you should not cook. You're not allowed to cook in Vanaprastha life. Why? It saves time. Simple. That's all. There's no problem in cooking. But if you cook, the problematic situation in cooking is not cooking but washing vessels. If you know. We all know that's crazy. That takes a lot of time. Cooking is okay. Cooking anybody can do. Even 100 people you can cook in 15, 20, half an hour you can cook, no problem. But washing vessels, that's a whole problem. Or maybe cutting vegetables, that takes time. So you spend time. That is why it is said don't cook. You see the whole purpose of all this elaborate arrangement of household life, Vanaprastha life, sannyas, rules and regulations. Why? To save time. That's one main important purpose. Why a person should take sannyas? To save time. You don't have responsibilities. Okay, if you have responsibilities, you have to fulfill it. You can't run away from it. But then, okay, fine. You have other responsibilities, so you save time. So it is said, don't cook. Okay. If suppose you leave your house and you go and stay in Vrindavan, so it is advised don't cook and just simply beg and eat. Actually, really, that's really Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is not you go to Vrindavan and have an elaborate arrangement of staying, and that's not the idea there. The idea is, okay, don't cook. But suppose if Krishna comes and he says, okay, well, you don't have to cook, but I will supply you 2 times meals. Suppose he says, okay, now you've left your house. It is said by scriptures, don't cook. It is said, eat fruits and bulbs. But Krishna comes and he says, no problem, I'll send my messengers and they will give you every day 2 times meals, and it will have chapati, dal and sabji and maybe pizza if you like. And will you accept it? But scripture says you should not cook. Will you accept it or not? If somebody says, I'll supply you. If somebody says, I'll supply you food, don't worry about that. Will you accept it or not?
Depends the consciousness of the person, surely.
Yeah, my question is, scripture says you should not take cooked food. But here we have a person who will supply you daily meal, morning and evening, in that particular station of life. Will you accept it or not? Will you go against scriptures or not?
If it gives you more time during the service, then yeah, you can take it.
Okay.
Okay, that's one explanation. Another can be, we can say, we may reject it because it means Vanaprastha also, as far as we understand, is to develop detachment also. Like it's considered that in Grihastha person.
Okay. I understand your point.
So now it's also
living enjoyment and okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? What you were saying?
No,
Will
just
accept?
some verses ago we are reading.
No. Will you accept or not?
I'm trying to give a reason.
Okay, a reason. Okay, reason. Yeah.
Just a few verses ago we were talking about duties of a brahmana, and a brahmana should not depend on anybody. So he shouldn't be accepting like payment from the government or something like that. So similarly, I don't think you should accept to be supplied food if you're in a Vanaprastha life, because you become dependent on that person.
Okay. So there are many opinions. Now there's a conflict. Some people say no, some people say yes. So what to do?
It is clearly Krishna's wishes, then I would take would abandon all the designations of Varnashram, Kshatriya.
Okay. So there are different opinions. So what you should do? Now that's the point, whole point, what you should do. Well, there are, you see, whenever you have to take decision, one guidelines is you should always go which makes you more detached. I said that. Always go that, because there's a conflict now. What you should do, which makes you detached. If you think by taking food, that's the consciousness. If you think by taking regular meals, you become attached to, and you're expecting food, expectation from that person, that I'll get food daily, then there's a problem. Then you should not accept. But at the same time, another guideline says, you can break any scriptural rule if you understand the purpose of it. That's another guideline. Just like Krishna says in Gita, don't give this knowledge to who are envious, who are not austere, isn't it? And what Prabhupada writes in purport. Prabhupada says, anyway, Krishna says whatever he wants, but we will give. Devotees are more merciful than God. Prabhupada says that. Krishna says, but, well, we are going to distribute it. Krishna is contradicting Krishna. Prabhupada is contradicting Krishna actually. Prabhupada is going against the wishes of Krishna in that purport. You have read that, all of you? It's there. It's there. How do you understand that? Actually, they are not contradicting because Prabhupada understands the purpose of Krishna. Why Krishna says that you should not give this knowledge to atheists and envious and not austere people, because if you do that, there are more chances, rather than converting him, you will get converted. You'll fall down, isn't it? If you try to do this kind of, if you go to hardcore atheist and you're not prepared, he'll convince you. Or if you go to envious person, he might harm you. Prahlad Maharaj can do that. Actually, Prahlad was preaching to demons, by the way. So Prabhupada understood the purpose. Prabhupada understood Krishna is saying this to help us, to save us, but at the same time, his internal desire is to help each and everyone. And Prabhupada could understand the purpose of his message, and that's why he actually defied his instructions. Just like Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Prabhu said to Nityananda Prabhu, you should not come to Jagannath Puri. He said you should not come. But every year Nityananda Prabhu came. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, Nityananda Prabhu defied the orders of Lord Chaitanya. And then Prabhupada writes, because Nityananda Prabhu understood the internal desire of Lord Chaitanya wanted to meet Nitai every year. He understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be so pleased to meet him. So he defied the orders. So you see, sometimes you can overrule the orders of scriptures, and that is the import of Sar Dharman Paritajya. You see that verse? Abandon all religious principles. Now we are not abandoning all religious principles fanatically or sentimentally or blindly. We don't have to follow anything in scriptures. Okay, finish, only devotion. That's a problem. No. To abandon all religious scriptures, you have to have these two guidelines. Otherwise, we are abandoning in ignorance. You see the point? And then the whole purpose of all other scriptures is lost. What's the point? So Varnashram Dharma is there and it's required, but we have to understand its purpose. What's the purpose? So if somebody gives us meals twice daily, and if a consciousness is okay, we don't get attached to, we don't expect food from him, then you can accept it. And because you understand the purpose, you are anyway saving time. Do your bhajan, eat. You don't have to go for begging and spend time in begging. It needs time. And eat it. That's all. So many times Rupa Goswami was doing that. They were all Babajis, and a few Brajvasis, they used to supply them food. They used to eat and do their bhajan. But to take such kind of decisions, you have to be very mature. Otherwise, you'll be taking erratic decisions in your life. And that is why we need association of devotees. That is why even in Vanaprastha, you need association of devotees. Bharat Maharaj, he left his kingdom and he took Vanaprastha. You know Bharat Maharaj, Bhagavatam? He left his kingdom, left household duties. He left to forest, but he landed into problem. He became attached to a deer and he fell down. And what was the problem? So why did he fall down? Due to attachment to deer? Yeah, exactly not. He became attached to deer because he didn't have any association. And if you read Bhagavatam properly, when they start describing Jad Bharat Maharaj's life, Sukadeva Goswami uses a word that the problem with Bharat, although he was the greatest person on this planet Earth, he renounced the entire kingdom of the earth. He was not just Prime Minister of India. He was not just the King of America. He was King of entire earth, and he just renounced like this. He went to forest, and he was at the point of bhava. He was at the point of bhava. just near love of Godhead. When he used to chant, he used to get tears and ecstatical symptoms. He was such elevated position, but he had a problem. And the problem was pride. And you see, pride is so dangerous. And how do we know he had pride? Because he went and stayed alone. He never cared to be with devotees. He thought he can make it alone. And there was nobody to advise him. That, hey, you're getting attached to deer now, and you should take some measures, and it's gone. Prabhupada says in his purports that was the main problem. He was alone. And why? Because he got so you see the point. Even at that time, even at such elevated stage, pride. What's that called in English? Pride precedes a fall. What's that? Pride comes before a fall. It's such a dangerous thing. That is why you need association of devotees always in any ashrama. Even in sannyas, you need association of devotees. And we know by history of our own history or history of other institutions, many sannyasis fell down. No association. That was the whole problem. Association doesn't mean that you have friends. Association means you have somebody higher than you. Somebody more wiser than you. That's real association. Association also means friends, but then you don't learn anything in friends because they are same level. Real association means somebody above you. And also with you, that's okay, but if you have to be safe, you have to have somebody above you who can really warn you when the time comes. And that is Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha, you also need association of devotees. Krishna will talk about all these things. He will say never stay alone. So the idea is you leave household life not to stay alone, but to stay in community of devotees. That's why Prabhupada says you go to Vrindavan, because they're devotees there. They are elevated devotees. You put yourself under them. You learn. You spend time. There are two duties in Vanaprastha: to read scriptures and to do austerities. Here, austerities doesn't mean less eating. For devotees, for less eating is for jnanis and yogis, austerities. For devotees, austerity means... So how does Krishna define austerity as? Anybody knows that? For us, what's austerities? Anybody knows that, by the way? I just wanted to have a dialogue, that's all. What is austerities? For us, it is not eating less, by the way. Yes, Prabhu? Yeah.
Austerities of speech, austerities of the mind.
Okay, yeah.
Mentions in Bhagavatam.
Yeah, Krishna mentions the austerity of speech, austerity of mind, austerity of body. Austerity of body is giving respect to superiors. In one word, Krishna says. And that's very difficult to do. You know why? Because every human has a fault. And when we start seeing the faults, we don't like to give respect. That's how it goes. It's very easy to give respect to Krishna, but Krishna doesn't give credits for that. Krishna gives credits if you give respect to devotees. And that's why Krishna says that verse. What's that verse? Tadiyanam samarchanam. A greater worship than me is to worship my devotees. What's that verse? How it goes? Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param tasmat parantaram devi tadyanam samarchanam. Prabhupada quotes, of all worshipping any god, the greatest god who should be worshipped is Krishna, because he's God of gods. But then Krishna says even more important than worshipping me is worshipping devotees. Why? Because that's the most difficult part. Anybody can respect God because he has no faults. He's perfect. But Krishna wants to see whether you give respect to somebody who is not perfect, who has faults. He wants to see that. He is very cunning, by the way. You can't fool him. You can't go around him. He looks simple and he's smiling, but he's very smart. Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion, if you read his qualities, he's daksha, he's expert, and he's clever. Daksha means expert and Chatur means clever. And Prabhupada speaks there, you cannot cheat him, you cannot deceive him. He knows. We pay him obeisances, okay, good. Okay, good. So in Western world, you have this point system, isn't it? You have point system here, UK. Yeah, America, you have this credit point system. So yeah, credit score you have here. If you take loans, your credit increases. So okay, if you pay obeisances to Krishna, okay, you get 2 points. But if you pay obeisances to devotees, you get 10 points. Why? Because that's difficult to do. In spite of all his faults, you should be able to give him respect. That's what he's looking for. Because if you can do that, then Krishna is sure that you are able to see through faults and through material conditioning right into reality, the truth that the soul has surrendered to Krishna, and that's the most important thing in spite of all his faults. No problem. And I am not surrendered to God. And these are Vishnu Jan, and we should pay respects. So that's why it's austerity. You see, Krishna says it's austerity of bodies to pay respects because you will not like to do that. And that's what it happens, isn't it? People say, oh, this devotee has this fault, this devotee has this fault, this devotee. Okay, everybody has faults. That's okay. Even Krishna says every endeavor has a fault. Whatever you do, there will be fault. You can't avoid that. Okay, so we are not saying that he's correct in doing a fault, but at the same time, respect. No problem. And scriptures advise you should give respect according to the age, according to knowledge, and according to seniority. Time, how much he has spent. That should be there. And also children and women. We should give respect. That is scriptures. So that's austerity of body. And then austerity of that Vanaprastha has to do what we are talking here. He has to learn that. He has to learn that in that stage. Or as a brahmachari, we have to learn. Everybody has to learn. And austerities of speech. Austerities of speech is to speak truth. Anudvekaram vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat. To speak truth, but in a way which is pleasing and also beneficial. That's very difficult to do. Because truth is bitter. You know that? So, but how to speak in a way that it's very pleasing and beneficial. Sukadev had this talent, by the way. Vyasadev might have, might not have, we don't know. Vyasadev, actually Shiva himself says. Vyasadev wrote many scriptures, but he presented truth in a way which was not exactly pleasing. Vyasadev was trying to flatter people. And that's what Narad Muni told him. See, you wrote so many scriptures for the benefit of people, but you are trying to flatter them by giving them benefits, isn't it? Bhagavatam comes. Okay, if you read this chapter, you will get health. If you worship sun, you will. All scriptures are like that. Narad Muni says you did a wrong thing. You had to speak truth, but not in a way which harms them or flatters them. In a way which pleases them. Pleases is not flattering. Pleases means which satisfies them with proper logic. It satisfies, it convinces them, and which is beneficial. That is austerities of speech, and it's very difficult to do. Sometimes people speak truth, but then they keep on hurting others. And other times, in the process of not hurting others, people forget speaking truth. And it's an art to speak. That is why it's an austerity. We have to get trained. And then austerity of mind is satisfaction. Krishna says, the first thing, santushtam hi mana. Krishna, that's there. In Bhagavatam also satisfaction. It's very difficult to be satisfied. Because we keep on expecting. Generally we expect reward for our service. Am I right or not? And Srila Prabhupada says in one of his lecture, don't even expect reward for your service. Don't do that. Otherwise, you will lose your satisfaction of mind. No, service is itself its own reward. Just like Krishna said to gopis. Gopis came and Krishna played flute and gopis came in dead of night to dance with him. And Krishna said to him, see, you have come to me, I have nothing to give to you. Your own love is your own reward. Your service is your own reward. And that's what is austerity of mind, to be satisfied. But Krishna is looking, I told you, Krishna is cunning. Krishna will make your life full of disturbances. And then he will see whether you are satisfied or not. He might do that. But he will not do that if you are not prepared. He will see when to do that, isn't it? But a good teacher will not give exam to a student if he is not prepared, because she knows he will fail. So why unnecessarily to harass him? But a sincere student, he will be put to test, and then he will be passed on to the next class. That's what Krishna does. So that's his austerities. The number one thing, the point is, anytime you have time in life, do two things, or save time to do two things in life. Krishna says tapasya, austerities in this sense. Get yourself trained, train your body, train your mind, train your speech in these things. Forget eating less, eating more, sleeping less, sleeping more. That will happen itself, no problem. Focus on this. And the second thing, Vanaprastha, is swadhyaya, reading. Reading books and acquiring knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, then you can't take proper decisions. You can't do that. And I told you, I'm not talking about big decisions. I'm talking about decision whether to eat the cake or not. That kind of decision. How much time should I spend in bathing? What should I do? That kind of decision. You have to take decision. Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya avasthito. Everything should be sorted out by consulting scriptures. Why? Because scriptures are having advices of so many saints. They are experience. Scriptures are experience of many people, isn't it? And that's what we do in material world. If you have to do some research, you read research papers. Am I right or not? And why do you read research papers? Because those people have done something. They have the experience. They have data. Scriptures are data. Many rishis have followed many things. They have also encountered the same problems. And they have written, if you do like this, this will be the best. Scriptures are experience. And which fool will not want experience? If you're trying to do something. It's foolishness to do that. It's an age-old experience. And that's why Confucius, Confucius, Chinese philosopher, he said, the roots of future lie in history. If you want to make your future good, go back in history. Don't bury it. And there the roots are there. And that's why Bhagavatam and all these scriptures are there. They will help you and guide you to sort out your life. They'll give you laws, by following simple laws, by following which you can be happy and you can do devotion, you can understand Krishna, you can save time, you can do austerities, and you can understand the purpose of the entire thing, love of God. Why so many things, why we are doing what we are doing, what's happening, to develop love for Krishna, and that doesn't come overnight. And that's why Bhagavatam says, Yaggi Sankirtana Prayajantihi Sumedasa. You have to be very intelligent to work out your own way through this maze of illusion. It's really a maze. And you need laws and you need directions for that. So having said that, you can continue reading this verse. It's a nice verse. I didn't really tell you how to eat roots and fruits in the forest. That you can read in scriptures if you want to do that. Krishna is saying. Or dress yourself with animal skins. No problem. But I've told you the purpose. Whatever you read now, Krishna is telling, Varnashram Dharma, whatever you read, the purpose is to save time. You wear deer skin because you don't spend time in making clothes or doing, or even wearing clothes. It spends time. If you wear clothes, it spends time because then you have to wash it. Of course, in Western world, they might not wash clothes, so I don't know, but yeah, we have to wear, and then it's so they say the whole purpose is this. So Krishna is giving some advice, but if you can save time without wearing deer skin and wearing clothes, that's okay. That's up to you. You have to see the idea I have told. How does it go? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions you can ask me? Yeah, Mataji.
Ma'am, I have a question. You told to please Krishna needs more than just our intention and action.
Yeah, it needs more than actions.
What do you mean? Like, could you explain this a little bit?
Yeah.
What's the meaning?
To please Krishna, Krishna is not just pleased by our actions and by our intentions. That's not the idea. Krishna is looking not just for action and not for your thoughts. By intention, I mean thoughts, not just your thoughts. He's looking at your will. What's your will? Will, so what's another word for will?
Intention.
Intentions, yeah. Krishna is looking at your intentions, not thoughts and not your actions.
Oh, but the intention.
Intentions, yeah. He's looking. Intentions. He's looking at your intentions. What is your intention behind the action and your thought? So if I confuse the words, that's how. He's looking at intentions. That's why Prabhupada says the key to devotion, the advancement in devotion is the attitude. He's not looking per se at actions. He's not doing that. A mother might slap her child, but we know she loves her child, isn't it? Her intentions are good, so she's not charged for violence, isn't it? Violence, it's not, in Western world it might be like that, but that's the problem with the law, by the way. With modern law, the problem is they don't see the intentions. They have some kind of system to see intentions, but it doesn't go like that. It's law, it's actions, and it's mostly behavior and evidence. But intentions are not worked out. And in our scriptures, intentions is the main thing. A beggar might steal and a rich person might steal. A rich person will get more punishment than a beggar. Because a beggar needs food. His intention is not really to harm somebody. His intention is to save his life. If he steals some food, isn't it? But a rich person, if he steals, it's clear he wants to steal for stealing. He's not doing for saving his life, so he gets more punishment. That's how it goes. And Krishna measures by that intention. A selfish action is always punished. A selfless action, even if it seems harming, is not punished. And that's what Arjuna is doing. Arjuna is killing. And Arjuna cannot understand this, by the way, in the beginning. Krishna says, you kill, but you will not be punished because this killing is selfless. It's for the benefit of the entire world. You see the point? So Krishna sees intentions. So if you eat prasadam, but if intention is to eat, it doesn't work. We'll fall down. We'll go into modes of nature. Then you might say, I have eaten prasadam, but it's transcendental and I should become transcendental. No. You'll get sleep. You'll sleep. That's all. After eating prasadam. And if that's happening, then we're not eating in proper consciousness. There's some problem there. And that's the whole problem. Sita was with Ram, Sita was with Raman. Sita is transcendental. But for Ram, she was favorable. For Raman, she was destruction. So holy names and prasadam and Krishna, it is said, if you're not careful, they can destroy you. That's also there. But that has to be understood in a very proper. If we are not cautious, that's why scripture says it is like walking on a razor's edge, isn't it? It is said, why? It is not like walking on a lotus petals, and it is not like that. It is on razor's edge because we are dealing with the most powerful person not in the entire universe, in the millions of universe. We are having holy name, which is the most powerful, most powerful program, software program. Holy names. And you can't mess it up. If you do small mistake, punishment will be very high because you're dealing with a high security zone. Zero tolerance zone. That's how it goes. We have here. You can't mess up here. This is house of God. This is not an ordinary house. Every thought will be accounted for here. But if you go outside on the street, every thought will not be accounted. You're on the Oxford Street. That's not house of God. That is, okay, that's material world, it belongs to God, but that's not accountable. But when you enter here and you live here, every thought is accounted. So So it is powerful. Oh, what's happening? Yeah. Krishna doesn't like this music. Anyway, that's fine. So that's why from here you can go back to Golok, or from here we can go down to hell. If we keep on, we are not careful, we do offenses, we don't train ourselves. If our intentions are wrong, I mean to say everybody do offenses, everybody has wrong thoughts, but the intention should be I want to overcome this. Then that's okay. That's fine. I mean, we are sitting here. Who doesn't have bad thought? Everybody. Okay, no problem. Krishna is not seeing thoughts. He knows every human is sinful. There's no human which is not sinful. And even our actions might be something erratic, Many times Krishna doesn't bother. Krishna sees what is your intention. If after thinking bad you feel guilty and you say, no, Krishna, I want to get free of this. I want to make my mind pure. No problems. But if that is missing, there's a big charge there. Yeah, Mataji, yeah. Oh, you were listening?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah.
Do we have to speak in the microphone?
You can speak. I can return the. They have the microphone there. They have the microphone. Yeah. Yeah, I think people will listen to the question. That's why you are speaking. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a very practical and scholarly class. Very nice. Something that I've been meditating on that I kind of vetoed and thought, okay, I'll ask at the right time. It seems like you would be a good person to enlighten me on this. That I'm quite ignorant about this idea of violent action, and you're talking about intention. It depends on the intention. And with the Dhammadarastikam prayer, I struggle personally because of my conditioning to understand why perhaps Mother Yashoda would run after Krishna with a whipping stick.
Oh.
Because it seems like
it seems she's being violent.
My mother never, beat me,
yeah,
I suppose, and it seems that kind of contradictory, and I struggle to understand that. And then
I think Western world people might struggle.
I was reading also Prabhupada's Lilamrita, and he says that he's talking about how
his father used to.
That Indira Gandhi, when she was taking control of India, and he was saying, I would teach her how to rule, and one of the first things I would do is to hang all of the hoarders who were hoarding all the grains. And so this is Prabhupada also, and so these two things came up, and I was thinking,
actually Prabhupada says many more things. If I tell you, you'll become unconscious, says Prabhupada. Prabhupada says many things. Prabhupada says, shoot them in the head. Prabhupada says that, Prabhupada says, so what's happening? It's difficult to understand, but the idea is, you see the same problem Yudhishthira Maharaj might be facing. He was a king, and king is supposed to be a politician and a diplomat. At the same time, Yudhishthira is a pure devotee, and that is why Krishna wanted him to become the king, because he can balance both, being a devotee and being a politician. And that is why we use this term Raj Rishi for kings. He's king, he's a politician, Raj, he's a Rishi. He knows Niti and Dharma both. Now your question, why Yashodama is running with a whip behind Krishna? She is not running to really, she understands that Krishna likes this. She understands the heart of Krishna. Krishna wants, you see the point, she knows that he's God. And she doesn't know also. It's both. In Vrindavan, you see gopis in Gopi Geet, when they're separated from Krishna, what they sing? Jayati te dikham jan. They immediately remember he's God. You're so great, you have come to purify us. They have not forgotten Krishna as God, but they don't have time to consider this point he's God. There's a difference in this. And when Prabhupada says, when scripture says people have forgotten he's God, it's not the point that their memory is erased. If you forget God, you're an illusion. Period. So what's happening with them? They don't have time to think he's God. They're so busy in giving him pleasure. They don't even want to consider this point. Am I right? So the point here is, Yashodama she knows. Krishna says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many people, they praise me, but there's nobody to scold me. I hanker for that. He's a person. Now let's remember, he's a person. He's not a light and he's not something. He's a person. He says, I hanker for scolding. And who will scold him? His devotees. So he gives his service to his devotees. To Yashodama, to Radharani, and Krishna is a director and they are the actors. And they know this service we have to do. That's why Radharani is always scolding Krishna. Isn't it? She's speaking bad names. Why? She doesn't know he's God. Come on, she is herself God. She is God. Krishna is God. And that's so that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Jagdanand Pandit in Jagannath Puri, don't go to Vrindavan, you will never understand how they're acting. Don't go there, because they are having a different kind of service to me. So it's all already played and directed and scripted, and they're doing that. And Krishna likes that. They know that. If they can sense Krishna doesn't like that, they'll stop it. But that's their role. So Krishna is running, Yashodama is going and trying to beat him, and Krishna likes that. And Krishna probably hankers for more pastimes like that. He hankers. He hankers that Radharani comes and scolds him. Every time, each and every time. That's why Krishna doesn't like Chandravali as much as Radha. Am I right? Because Chandravali doesn't do that. So that is Krishna. That is why I told Krishna is a different kind of person. Vishnu is different. Ram is different. Krishna is very different. Bhaktisanta used to say, you can understand Vishnu and Ram easily, but to understand Krishna, you might take lifetimes. He's a different kind of person altogether. And we need different kind of training and service to serve this person. He's not usual. He's not a usual guy. He's very different. And that is what is our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So that's why she's doing that. Why Prabhupada is doing, you have to hang, Prabhupada says. That's okay, because when you have to be a king, you should know how to punish also. King should know how to do mercy and how to do punish, because it is said in scriptures, the best purification method is punishment. There is no other purification method than punishment. Punishment purifies people and purifies community. So by giving punishment to one person, you purify the entire law. You see the point there? The law becomes strong. It gives strength to the law, and you purify the community and the law. So that is why punishment is required. It is for the benefit of the community, it is for the benefit of the law, it is for the benefit of that person. If he is not punished, he will keep on committing sins and he will implicate himself more. So you stop him. So it's an act of mercy. It doesn't, you see the point, this whole concept of do whatever you want and there are no laws and there is always nice things. It doesn't happen like that. Everything is, we have to understand the purpose of things. Then we will understand, isn't it? So, okay, mother should not beat the child. Okay, fine. But that's not violence. Why don't you see the intention? Mother is not interested to beat the child. Which mother will want to beat a child? Come on. And even in India you go, after parents scold the child and sometimes slaps him, after 15-20 minutes, 100% they'll come and they will take the child on their lap and weep. Every parent. It happened to all of us. Because they said, we scolded you. They feel after that. So that's the whole point. Modern law, there is no consideration of intentions and feelings. You know why? Because this law is based on science. And science is objective. Subjectivity, no. That's a whole problem. So if you have to fight with the law, you have to first correct science. To fight with science, you have to correct that scientism, whole way of thinking. Rational, logical framework, which has no feelings, no intentions, only evidence, cut. It doesn't work like that. That's how it goes. Isn't it? Sometimes a boyfriend Sometimes anyway, you will, I'm a brahmachari, I should not give this example, but it's like that. We read Bhagavatam, so we know. Sometimes a girlfriend slaps boyfriend. He likes that. Am I right, Amma? Sometimes. I don't know. He likes, yeah, it's nice. So it's a relationship, and that's why modern society is facing so much problem of relationships, because they are just seeing actions and evidence and this and that, and they are not trained in seeing intentions and the purpose of the action, and that is why they can't even understand God, they can't even understand religion. Religion promotes terrorism. Come on, it's crazy. If something happened in the high street crusades and all these things, well, why do you blame religion? You see what was happening, political, social situation and the intention of people. It was not like that. So that is why sadhana bhakti is called cheshta bhakti. If you see Sanskrit, sadhana bhakti is not called kriya bhakti. Kriya means action. Or maybe vichar bhakti. The term is cheshta, intention. Sadhana bhakti is all to do with intention. We can chant for eternity, but if our intention is not proper, we don't get love of God. So that's how these people are.
Very nice, yeah, I'm going to meditate on that. And just really quickly, because of the last thing that you said about the intention, practically, if we want to improve our chanting, is it a nice idea to maybe set a sankalpa before our chanting and just to say, okay, today I'm chanting to get closer to Krishna, or I'm chanting for Krishna's pleasure?
No, actually you're right. In Hari Bhakti Vilas there is a verse, by the way. In Hari Bhakti Vilas there is a verse. Actually, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, before we start chanting, we have to do Achman. Because actually chanting is, we are worshipping Krishna. It's as good as deity worship. So generally people sit, people do Achmana, and with that sipping water they take sankalp. That let this chanting be offered to the lotus feet of Lord, and may He be pleased by my chanting of holy names. And then we chant. That's a verse there, Sanskrit verse. And when you finish chanting, then you again take water and give water. You give the water with the sankalpa. Now I have finished my chanting. May all these holy names bring auspiciousness for Krishna, not for us. Now here is the whole point. If you chant, may this bring auspiciousness to me, your whole intention is gone. Your attitude is messed up because you're thinking of yourself. May this chanting bring auspiciousness to Krishna and His devotees and the entire world. We are chanting for the entire world and not ourselves. Devotion is not for ourselves. We have to get out of this conception. It is not me. Me is forget me. The more you forget me and I, the more we advance. It is for the entire world. That's how. You see the point? We can think like that. We don't really need to sip. Now before chanting and after chanting we can think like that. That's all.